Very much, come on, John. Brothers and sisters, I was actually telling the gentleman in front that anytime I come to Felicity, I feel at home because I've been here so many times before, speaking and continuously speaking on the issues affecting ex-colony workers. That it's almost, when I come here, I feel as though I'm not going to a strange place. That I'm still at the NT complex, or I'm still at my home, or I'm still in the village that I grew up in. Tonight is not a night where I'm going to give a long speech. Tonight is not a night where I'm going to rant and rave and talk about battle and war and what have you. We have done that for the last 4 years against the previous government, and we will certainly be doing it against this government if they fail to deliver to the ex-colony workers what is due to them. Whenever I come here, I speak of the colony issue and I speak of the National Solidarity Assembly. Tonight I'm here simply to issue an invitation to you. An invitation to you to join me on Labor Day, June the 19th, Sunday, where we could begin the process of once again initiating a battle and reigniting a struggle to ensure that the almost 4,000 ex-colony workers who are still waiting get what is due to them. And in addition to that, it is very important that you understand why I am doing this and why I am attempting to raise the consciousness of our people. And when I say our people, I don't mean Indian people, I mean people who would have struggled and labored in the vineyards of this country, in the plantation fields to help develop Trinidad and Tobago. Those are the people I'm speaking of, because you find when we celebrate the history of this country, we choose out events which we celebrate, and we choose out episodes in the history of this country, and we celebrate those episodes in a very selective manner. So very often, our own people are not aware of their own history. When you go to school and you study history in our schools, and it is a failure of our education system, they teach you a generic history of the Caribbean, but they never teach you the history of Trinidad and Tobago. And what I am doing this Labor Day is attempting to establish a process whereby our people and our children could understand the history and understand the struggles that their ancestors would have had to go through for the rights and privileges they enjoy today. And that is why I ask the question, how many of us really and truly understand that the largest colonial massacre to take place in Trinidad and Tobago, when 22 people were killed and 150 people injured, took place in 1884 in what we know today as the Jose riots, when the colonial authorities banned the Muslims from celebrating Jose. And when you read the history, your paws will raise because it tells you about a man on a horse, an Indian indented who raised a sword, and he jumped on a horse, and he barred through the gate of the estate in Monrico, and he said, today we march or we die. And when those persons took to the streets, Hindus and Muslims, Christians, Africans and Indians, demanding the right to march and to celebrate their history and their religion, the colonial authorities unleashed the army and the police on them, and 22 Hindus were killed fighting for the right of Muslims to celebrate Jose. And Christians and Hindus and Muslims were injured in that battle. Very few of us know that history. Very few of us know that history. Very few of us know that between 1880s to 1917, there were 52 strikes and demonstrations in the sugar industry. Protest and demonstration and battle. But you never hear of that history. And that is why it is so very important that this Labor Day, I break with Faizabad again. And I celebrate in Central, but this time there will be no politicians. Because last year, we invited the politicians because we were promised that every single thing that was due to us will be given to us. And I opened the doors of Renzi Complex, and I told them, come. They came. The Prime Minister at that time made a statement, Rome was not built in a day. And she made a statement 5 years after she had taken power. She is now out of office. And thousands of you are still waiting. They will never again be invited to any celebration at the Renzi Complex. In addition to what I've said, how many of you know that in 1934, 15,000 sugar workers shut down the sugar industry. Policemen were beaten. Estates burned. Protests and demonstrations throughout the length and breadth of this country. Women in the Spring Estate in Balmain took up hoe and beat overseer and put them in the hospital. Fellows by the name of Dougal and Mitchell. We don't know that telephone wires cut 800 workers in Esperanza and Balmain and Butching Castle. Down tools in 1884. Marched down to Cuba, demanding food and demanding work and demanding justice and better wages and just an end to the maltreatment they were facing. How many of you know that? When you hear of labor in Trinidad and Tobago, all you hear about is 1937. All you hear about is 1937. The battle in Faizabad. Nobody tells you the history of 1934 when sugar workers nearly turned this country upside down, demanding better working conditions and demanding better jobs and lower tasks and demanding better wages. Nobody tells you that. Nobody will tell you that it was people in agriculture and the sugar industry who in 1934 introduced what you call radicalism into the politics and into trade unionism. And a local commission of inquiry was set up to examine why it is in 1934, 15,000 people nearly sent this country mad, protesting and demonstrating and burning estates. And because of the failure of that inquiry to implement decisions taken at the inquiry, you had it leading into the struggles of 1937. But when we celebrate 1937 alone, what we do is that we negate the history of people who would have also contributed to the development of labor in Trinidad and Tobago. And that is why, ladies and gentlemen, I have said that this Labor Day, we are going to celebrate ourselves. And I promise you I will not be very long tonight, because tonight I'm here simply to issue an invitation to you. And my invitation to you is this. The time has come to reclaim your history. Because if you do not reclaim your history, and you do not teach the young ones about the struggles that would have gone in the past, they may very well take what they enjoy today for granted. And if they are not ever vigilant, what they enjoy today, they could easily lose and it could easily be taken away from them in the disguise of policy and program and reform. And that is why this Labor Day, we have to join together and continue to educate our people as to their history. Because if you don't, we will always sit down and expect a God to appear to do for us what we should be doing for ourselves. And I always say that people are angry with me for saying it. They are angry with me for saying it. Many of our people prefer to sit home in their houses, eating curry duck and sada roti, or watching an Indian movie, or going to the temple or the mosque or the church, and thinking that Ram and Lakshman or God will come down from the sky to do for them what they should be doing for themselves. It don't work that way. And I always tell people the story of Draupadi in the Mahabharata, when she was lost in that gambling game, and Duryodhana started to pull out her clothing she appealed to every single person sitting there. And every single one of them turned their faces and looked away. And it is only after everybody had turned away and she had tried every single body to help her, then God came and assisted her. Because as you keep pulling this away, more and more keep unraveling. And the point of that message is very simple. You don't sit down home and expect somebody else to do it for you. You don't sit down home and expect God to come down from the sky and do it for you. You have to stand up for your rights. You have to take the initiative to do what you have to do for yourselves. Because if you don't, all these lands that are due to you, that the UNC failed to give you, and that the PNM failed to give you before that, you will lose it. And your children will lose it. And my message to people this Labor Day is come and join with us in the Old Trinidad. Let us march on Labor Day and send a message to the UNC and the PNM that we're still here. And we're still around. And we are still going to demand every single thing that is due to us on this Labor Day. And I have chosen June the 19th Labor Day to reignite the battle. And many people have asked me, how is it that over the past few months you have not waged wars you should? And I told them I have to be fair. I begged the UNC for 5 years to do for their people what they're supposed to do. And they turned their backs and they never did it. And it's a fact. People could say what they want, and I think Kamala Prasad-Bissessa inflicted the final insult on her own supporters. When you had thousands of people gathered at the ANC complex on election night, waiting for her to come. And she stayed in Siparia, thanked the people of Siparia for winning her seat, and went home and sleep. And left thousands of her people just waiting for words of comfort. And you know, you could curse Pandey, you could call Basil Pandey a dog, you could say he's a nasty man, but one thing you could never say about Pandey, win, lose or draw, if Basil Pandey had to crawl on his belly from south and reach the ANC complex on election night, he would have done so, to give his people some hope, and to talk to them, and tell them even though we lose, we win. And that is the difference in the leadership. And I tell you this, and I told you in every single meeting I have, I told you, you will wave flags and wave banner and shout as a UNC till I'm dead, or I'm a PNM till I'm dead. And at the end of the day, they will continue to use you and your children will suffer, because both the PNM and the UNC will always strive and exist on the fact that you believe you are UNC till you're dead. So they can do whatever they want, and you will always vote for them. And I never forget the last election, when even you and my people who we were fighting for said, throw in your hat so you could be nominated. And they said I was not good enough, and that's fine. That's fine. I didn't have a problem with that, because that is a democratic process. But you know what? I want to know what Barry Parrott, Rodney Charles, David Lee, Ganga Singh, Botiwala, Vijaya Gopi Singh, some fella called Parry, some fella called in Faizabad, what have they ever done or attempted to do to assist the hardcore UNC people? I'm not talking about the middle class who just jump here and there and everywhere. I'm talking about those people who since the 1960s have consistently supported the opposition politics in this country in every one of its incarnation. What have they ever done? Nothing. And if you could tell me today what they could do for you today, then you would put me in a state of shock. Because in government they couldn't do it for you, and in opposition they're now ranting and raving about things they should have done when they were in government. And if any single one of you could tell me, if these names I have called could battle the PNM for you, then continue to support it. That's the point I made. That is the point I have made. And I will continue to make that point. And people have condemned me. A UNC fella calling on the radio this morning and said I'm attempting to undermine the UNC. And in my mind I said, undermine what UNC? The UNC is an organization, it's just a name. And like any organization, it is made up of individuals who sometimes are good and who sometimes are bad. And if it is now made up of individuals who do not serve your interests, then you have no choice, you have to move on. And that is the point. Because when you say you are UNC till you're dead or a PNM till you're dead, then you commit your children to a continuous cycle of what we are experiencing here today. They will be begging for their lands, and their children will be begging for those lands, and their children's children will be begging for those lands. Because all you can do is wave a flag and think you will get what is due to you. Let me tell you something. The time has come. The time has come that we must once again unite as a band of brothers and sisters and reignite the struggle to ensure that every single ex-colony worker and cane farmer and persons in the agricultural sector get what is due to them. And not only get what is due to them, but receive the respect that they deserve as first-class citizens of this country, and those who would have also contributed to not only the development of labor, but also the development of Trinidad and Tobago. And that is why on this Labor Day, I am saying to you, come out and join us. Come out and celebrate yourselves, because if you don't, nobody will celebrate you. You have to celebrate yourselves. And you have to celebrate those people in Esperanza and Balmain and Butchern Castle who in 1934, before 1937, start what we know today as massive protests and demonstrations in this country. You must not allow them to celebrate history selectively. You have to celebrate the true history of this country. And that is where we have to raise the consciousness of our people. Because if we don't, as I told you, we will always look to others. We will always look to others. And we will never look to ourselves. And that is the point I am making here tonight. And it's Father's Day. And people they have told me it's Father's Day. We're planning a line. And I've told them what better way to celebrate the struggles and the battles of our forefathers, both fathers and mothers, than beginning that process of celebrating their battles by that march and beginning the process of education, of educating not only our people, but educating the country as to what you would have contributed. Because for too long, people think that you, and I'm in Felicity and I'm saying this, and I'm not saying this to attack anybody, but for too long people believe that all you have contributed is chocolate and rum and roti. That nonsense has to stop. Every single person in this country contributed to the development of labor. And when I say we, I mean both the Africans and Indians who would have labored in the sugar industry for so many years. We have to celebrate our own history. And I have told the General Secretary of the UN, and I have not yet gotten permission to march. But march I will. I haven't gotten permission to march. And what I intend to do on that day, if I do not get permission to march, then we will gather at Esperanza Recreation Ground, and I will start a walk, because I would not have my wallet on me, and I don't like to take a drop from anybody. And I will be marching, well actually walking, from Esperanza Recreation Ground to Renzi Complex, and I will not know all of you, because you will be marching single file with me. And once you march single file, they can't do you a thing. So permission or no permission, we will be marching from Esperanza to Renzi Complex. And if I have to march in single file, we will march in single file. And if anything happens, I've already advised the General Secretary of the Union to just make sure you have about $40,000–$50,000 in the current account for bail money, if needed. And if the bail money is not needed, it is there. So my message to you tonight is very simple, and I'm not going to talk for very long. Time will come for that. On June the 19th, when I decide to take off the gloves against the UNC and the PNM, then you will hear what I have to say. But tonight, my message to you is very simple. Join us on Labor Day. Let us celebrate our history. Let us march together. The march will be followed by a short meeting at the Renzi Complex. Short because it's Father's Day. There'll be a shuttle at ONZ complex to take anyone who comes and park at ONZ to the recreation ground, and from there we will march back together. We will also be dedicating ONZ complex officially by unveiling a stone in the name of Adrian Kola Rienzi, who, as you know, was the first president of ATGWTU and the Old Trinidad. And in addition to that, we will be celebrating, I think it's about 4 individuals, ranging from the ages of 86 to 100 years, who would have struggled in sugar, and 2 of them would have been dead in the riots and demonstrations of 1934. The time has come to celebrate our history and not allow other people to tell us what our history is. And that is my point to you. Come out and join us, and let us march together and send a message to this country, both to the UNC, to the PNM, and to everybody in this country, that we are here, we are still around, we have not given up the struggle, we are demanding everything that is due to us. On June the 19th, we reignite the battle to ensure that every single ex-colony worker and anybody in this country who feel that they have been discriminated against by the institutions that govern the country get what is due to them. Come out and join me. And I ask you again, all you need to do is to help me to help you, because I will be the voice and you will be the foundation, and together I'm certain we will achieve what we have to achieve. I thank you very much.
I'm sure we could do better than that, man. The man still have fire in the belly, man. So, brothers and sisters, you have heard how you are going to reach at Rienzi complex. When you come to Rienzi, let me remind you again what you have said. We have a shuttle service from Rienzi to Esperanza. So you can park at Rienzi. And from Esperanza, we coming through the village into the main road via Cuba to Rienzi complex. Now, transportation. I think the people in Felicity always organize their maxis and so on. You can contact the General Secretary at the office. You can give them your maxi number and so on. And that maxi could drop the people straight to Esperanza and come back to Rienzi, or come back whenever you have to come back to pick you up. You make that arrangement. But he could drop you straight to Esperanza, and from there he could wait for you at Rienzi, or come back on Rienzi and pick you up. So, and I'm sure you still have your red shirts and your red jersey and so on, and if you don't have, see, look at an old one, or get something, or orange color, like where but again, yeah. So I want to welcome again Devika, Central Executive Officer, Mr. Shalom Dedaran, Balki, and all of you who are here again once more. We thank you for your courage and your determination to give him strength so he can move forward. God bless you. If you want to talk to him, you can talk to him. He's ready.